One of the intimidating things about getting started in an open tuning is, where did the chords go? Once you retune the guitar to an open D tuning or an open G tuning, the whole landscape gets scrambled, right? You don't know where all the familiar chord shapes are. But it doesn't have to be that overwhelming. In this short lesson, I want to show you how to find the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord in open D tuning. Once you can find 1, 4, and 5, you've got a foundation that you can work from. Everything really comes out of knowing where the chords are. So if you know where 1, 4, and 5 are, you can start to find licks, you can start to play grooves. It really opens the whole thing up. This is one of the 3 important topics I'm going to be covering in my Slide Foundations workshop coming up on January 27th. If you'd like to learn more about that, just go to the link below or the link on screen. But for now, let's get started with these 3 chords. Okay, so I'm in open D tuning, which is D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D from low to high. So that is the root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, and root of D. So guess what our first chord is? The open strings. Couldn't get any easier than that. In fact, it's already easier than standard tuning because you don't have to do anything except strum the chord. So that's a D chord. That's our 1. And if you take some things that you maybe already know how to do from finger picking, you're good to go. We can play an alternating thumb between the 6th string and the 4th string. Maybe do a little palm muting over here so that it's a little damped. You could even get kind of exotic and do 6th string, 4th string, 5th string, 4th string. And there's your 1 chord. For the 4 chord, we can use this shape. Now it looks like an E7 chord from standard tuning, but in this tuning, it's actually a G chord. To be very specific, it's a G chord with the 5th in the bass. We're going to keep that D note in the bass. And then so we've got, here's the 5th of G, and here's the 3rd, and the 5th again. I always have to think about this. And the root, and the 9th, which sounds kind of cool in there. And then the 5th again on top. But if we keep that same alternating thumb going, 6th string, 4th string, 5th string, 4th string, we get the sound of a G chord without really doing anything different with the picking hand. So we've got 1, and we've got 4. So far, so good. Now for the 5 chord, we're just going to take middle finger and bring it over 1 string to the 4th string and play from the 5th string up. So we've got, and that note doesn't really belong. We could add in the 5th on top to give us the root, the 5th, the flat 7, the root, and the 5th of A, or A7. A lot of times in real life, you might just leave that D, which is like kind of a sus4 sound. You can leave that ringing on top or just not play it. For the thumb, you want to come up to the 5th string and play 5th string, 4th string. So now we've got 1, 4, and 5. Go into the 4 chord, 5 chord, and back to 1. Cool, right? Now the rest, as my favorite Talmudic quote would have it, is commentary. Once you've got the thumb going, anything you add on top with your fingers is just going to help to fill out the sound, whether it's single notes, or it's chord fragments, or it's bass runs. When you're on 1, you can even kind of be rocking between 1 and 4. And you can start to have some notes with your fingers on top. When you go to the 4 chord, you could play just from the 5th string, from the 3rd of the chord. You could have some bass runs to connect everything up. When you get to the 5 chord, you could have some single note licks on top. But it all comes from this foundation of just having 1, 4, and 5. Start with those 3 chord shapes and you get the thumb groove going, you'll start to hear and see stuff that looks and sounds more or less familiar because you already know how to play guitar and you already know how to play chords and add notes to it over a thumb. So it's not that remote just because you're in an open tuning. So that's the idea. Again, I'll be covering this as one of 3 main topics in my upcoming Slide Foundations workshop on January 27th. Go to the link below or the link on screen to check it out. If you've got a question about open D tuning or slide guitar, leave it down below. I would love to hear what's on your mind. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.